I sat on the floor of my nearly empty apartment, holding the eviction notice with trembling hands. The paper felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Just 7 days earlier, I'd lost my job at the marketing firm. 3 days after that, my small candle-making business collapsed when my biggest supplier pulled out. Now this. I heard the door open and looked up, expecting comfort from my husband. Adrian walked in with his mother trailing behind him. They didn't sit down. His mother handed me a manila envelope, her face cold as stone. "My son can't be dragged down with a failure," she said. Adrian grabbed his pre-packed suitcase from the closet, kissed his mother's cheek, and whispered, "Goodbye, Eliana." The door clicked shut. I collapsed to my knees, unable to breathe. Then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number glowed on the screen. I stared at it, my whole body numb. "My name is Eliana Vayne. I'm 28 years old, and I used to believe love could survive anything. I grew up in a small town, the daughter of a seamstress and a mechanic. My parents taught me that hard work mattered more than privilege. I met Adrian in college, and he seemed different from other guys, gentle, supportive, interested in my dreams. After graduation, I started making handmade candles in our apartment kitchen. They sold well at local markets. Adrian seemed proud at first, but his mother never liked me. She called me that girl with no family connections at our wedding. She wanted him to marry someone from their country club world. Still, I thought love would be enough. I thought we'd build something together. I was wrong. Now I sat alone, staring at that message on my phone. It was from my landlord. "Your shop lease has been purchased by a private buyer. Meet me tomorrow at 10. Bring your keys." I arrived at the abandoned shop the next morning, expecting another disaster. Maybe the new owner wanted me out immediately. I pushed open the door and saw a woman standing in the center of the empty space. She turned around and I gasped. It was Mrs. Asha, my old business professor from college. She'd retired 5 years ago and moved away. "Eliana," she said warmly, walking toward me. "I've been watching your work from afar. I saw your candle designs online, your customer reviews, your dedication." My eyes filled with tears. She explained that she'd made her fortune in luxury goods and wanted to mentor young entrepreneurs. "I'm not giving you charity," she said firmly. "I'm offering you a partnership. A new luxury skincare line. Real investment, real opportunity." My heart pounded. "Why me?" I whispered. She smiled. "Because you don't quit, even when you should. That's rare." Then her expression turned serious. "But there's one condition you must accept first." Mrs. Asha led me to a small table where a contract waited. "The condition is this," she said. "You must cut all emotional dependency on Adrian and his family. No contact. No social media checking. No hoping he'll come back. You rebuild from zero emotionally and financially." Her words hit hard but felt right. I'd been clinging to a marriage that was already dead. "If you can't let go," she continued, "you'll never have the mental space to build something real." I looked at the contract. $50,000 in seed capital. A 50-50 partnership. A real chance. My hand shook as I picked up the pen. I thought of Adrian's cold goodbye, his mother's cruel words, the eviction notice. I signed my name. Mrs. Asha smiled and shook my hand. As I walked outside into the sunshine, I felt lighter than I had in months. Then I noticed a silver sedan parked across the street. Someone inside lifted a camera and snapped a photo of me. The silver sedan followed me for 3 blocks. My heart raced. I turned down a side street, and it turned too. Finally, I spun around and marched toward the car. The engine roared to life, and it sped away. But not before I caught a glimpse of the driver. It was Adrian's cousin, Kyle. I knew that face, that car. Panic mixed with anger in my chest. Why were they watching me? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Kyle's camera, about what they might be planning. The next morning, Mrs. Asha called me. "I heard something through my network," she said carefully. "Adrian's family is worried you might sue them for abandonment. Apparently, they're gathering information on you." I laughed bitterly. "I don't have money for lawyers." "They don't know that," she replied. "Fear makes people dangerous." Later that day, I learned the truth. Adrian's mother had told her friends, "If that girl rises, we'll ruin her before she gets the chance." I threw myself into work like a woman possessed. Mrs. Asha set me up in a tiny rented room above a laundromat. It became my workspace, my bedroom, my whole world. I worked 18-hour days, researching skincare formulas, testing ingredients, designing packaging. Some nights I cried from exhaustion. Other nights I couldn't sleep because my mind wouldn't stop planning. My hands developed calluses from mixing batches. My eyes burned from staring at spreadsheets. But slowly, something beautiful emerged. I created a line of natural face serums using local botanicals. The bottles were simple but elegant. I named the brand Phoenix Rising. It felt right. 3 months after I started, I sent samples to micro-influencers, hoping for a miracle. A week later, a girl with 30,000 TikTok followers posted a review. "This serum saved my skin," she gushed, showing before and after photos. The video went viral overnight. By morning, I had 2,000 orders. I stared at my computer screen, unable to believe it was real. The website crashed at the worst possible moment. Orders were flooding in, my phone was ringing constantly, and suddenly everything went dark. Error messages filled my screen. I called my web developer, panicking. "Someone attacked your site," he said grimly. "A DDoS attack. Professional level." My blood ran cold. "Can you trace it?" I asked. He worked for hours while I paced the room. Finally, he called back. The attack originated from a residential IP address. I traced it to a house registered to a Victoria Harrington, Adrian's mother. My shock turned to something else. Something colder and sharper. I smiled slowly. "Can you document everything?" I asked. "Every detail." "Already done," he replied. "You might want to talk to a lawyer." I sat back in my chair, staring at the evidence on my screen. Instead of feeling defeated, I felt energized. "Game on," I whispered to the empty room. I rebuilt the website stronger within 48 hours. But I didn't just fix it. I launched a bold marketing campaign about resilience and overcoming sabotage. I didn't name anyone, but I shared the truth. Someone tried to destroy my small business the same week I lost everything else. I wrote, "But I'm still here." The response was overwhelming. People shared my posts thousands of times. Strangers sent encouraging messages. Local news picked up the story. Then came the email that changed everything. A major beauty distributor wanted a meeting to discuss carrying my products in their stores. I dressed in the only professional outfit I owned and walked into their sleek downtown office. The receptionist led me to a conference room. I stepped inside and froze. Sitting at the table, wearing a tight smile, was a woman I'd never met. But I recognized her from social media. She was Adrian's new fiancée, and according to her nameplate, she was their marketing manager. Her name was Vanessa, and she looked at me like I was dirt on her expensive shoes. "Miss Vayne," she said sweetly, "I've heard so much about you." The distributor's CEO, Mr. Thompson, gestured for me to sit. I did, keeping my face calm. Vanessa immediately took control of the conversation. "I'm not sure this partnership is right for us," she said. "Your brand lacks the sophistication we require. And frankly, Adrian has told me all about how you held him back. I think you're still doing that, just in a different way." My jaw tightened. She continued, "Maybe you should quit while you're behind. Adrian is moving up in life now. You should accept that some people are meant to succeed and others aren't." The room went silent. Mr. Thompson's expression darkened. He'd been typing on his phone during her speech. "Miss Vanessa," he said coldly, "in my 20 years in this business, I've never heard such unprofessional behavior. You're fired. Effective immediately." Vanessa's face went white. "You can't. Security will escort you out," he said. Then he turned to me. "Now, Miss Vayne, let's discuss this partnership properly." The partnership with Thompson's company was incredible, but my victory was short-lived. 2 weeks later, my product factory called. "We have to terminate our contract," the manager said nervously. "We've received complaints that your ingredients are harmful. We can't risk our reputation." I felt sick. "That's not true." I have all the safety certifications. I'm sorry, he said. The decision is final. I spent the next day frantically calling other manufacturers. They'd all heard the same rumor. Someone had poisoned my reputation systematically. Finally, I hired a private investigator. 3 days later, he called with news. The rumor started from a phone number registered to Adrian Harrington. Text messages, emails to industry contacts, even fake customer complaints. He sent me the documentation. I had proof of everything. My lawyer reviewed it immediately. You could sue for significant damages, she said. This is clear tortious interference. I sat quietly, thinking. The old Eliana would have cried. The new Eliana saw opportunity. Not yet, I told my lawyer. I have a better plan. I used the sabotage as fuel. I launched a complete rebrand, focusing on radical transparency. I showed my entire supply chain online, published all my safety certifications, and created behind-the-scenes videos of my process. I addressed the rumors head-on without naming names. When someone tries to destroy you with lies, I said in a video that went viral, respond with truth so loud they can't hide. People loved it. The transparency, the courage, the refusal to be victimized. Sales didn't just recover. They tripled. I hired 3 employees. I moved into a real office space. I could finally breathe. Then I received an email that made my heart stop. I'd been invited to speak at the National Women in Business Summit. The entire event would be broadcast live on major networks and streaming platforms. They wanted me to share my story of rebuilding after losing everything. I stared at the invitation for a long time. This was it. The moment I could tell my truth to the world. I accepted immediately. The summit took place in a massive convention center. I stood backstage, my hands sweating, as 3,000 people filled the auditorium. The host introduced me, and I walked onto that stage with my head high. I told them everything. The eviction notice. The business collapse. The divorce papers were delivered with cruelty instead of compassion. I didn't name Adrian or his family, but anyone who knew me would understand. I learned that sometimes the people who promise to stand by you are the first ones to run when things get hard. I said, my voice steady. But I also learned that your worth isn't determined by who stays or leaves. It's determined by whether you stay with yourself. The audience erupted in applause. My speech was raw, honest, and powerful. Within an hour, clips were spreading across social media. By that evening, it had been viewed 4 million times. I became a symbol of resilience overnight. Somewhere across town, Adrian's mother watched the video on her tablet. Her face went pale as she recognized every detail I'd shared. Adrian's life was crumbling. I learned this through mutual acquaintances, though I never asked. His mother had been so focused on sabotaging me that she'd neglected to help him build anything real. He'd been fired from his job after his mother's interference at his company became known. His friends slowly distanced themselves as they realized what his family had done to me. Then Vanessa called off their engagement. She'd seen my viral speech and connected the dots. She wanted nothing to do with a man whose family destroyed people for sport. Adrian was alone, jobless, and running out of money. His mother's reputation in their social circle was destroyed too. People who once sought her approval now avoided her. One morning, Adrian searched my name online, something he'd apparently been avoiding. He saw article after article about my success. He saw that my company had just crossed 7 figures in revenue. He saw photos of me at business events, smiling and confident. He stared at the screen for a long time, his hands shaking. I was in my new office reviewing contracts when my assistant buzzed in. There's someone here to see you. He says it's urgent. His name is Adrian Harrington. My blood went cold. I almost said to send him away, but curiosity won. Send him in. Adrian walked through my door, looking smaller than I remembered. His clothes were wrinkled. His eyes were red. Eliana, he said softly. Thank you for seeing me. I didn't stand up. I didn't smile. You have 5 minutes. He sat down uninvited. I made a terrible mistake, he began. I was weak. My mother influenced me, and I should have been stronger. I want to apologize. I want us to talk about rebuilding what we had. I think we could help each other." I studied him carefully. He wasn't sorry. He was desperate. "Help each other?" I repeated. "You mean you want me to help you?" His face flushed. "I didn't mean it like that." "Yes, you did," I said calmly. I pressed the button on my desk. "Security, please escort Mr. Harrington out of the building." 3 days later, his mother showed up. She didn't make an appointment. She just stormed past my assistant into my office, her face twisted with rage. "How dare you humiliate my family?" she shouted. "After everything we did for you." I slowly reached for my phone and started recording. She didn't notice. "I invested years into Adrian," she continued, her voice shrill. "Years of raising him, educating him, preparing him for success. You benefited from that. You owe us. I demand compensation for what you've taken from our family." I let her rant for 2 full minutes. Then I calmly said, "Are you finished?" She glared at me. "I want money. Now." "Leave my office," I said quietly, "or I'll call the police." She left, still shouting threats in the hallway. That evening, I created an anonymous social media account. I posted the audio recording with a simple caption, "When privilege meets delusion." The post exploded. Within 24 hours, millions of people had heard Victoria Harrington's entitled demands. The public outrage was swift and brutal. Their lawyer sent a cease and desist letter, threatening to sue me for defamation. I smiled when I read it. My lawyer scheduled a meeting with their attorney. I attended, dressed in my best suit. Their lawyer was a middle-aged man who clearly thought this would be easy. "My clients are prepared to pursue damages for the emotional distress your actions have caused," he began. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. "Inside, you'll find documented evidence of your client's actions. The website attack traced to Mrs. Harrington's IP address. The false rumors about harmful ingredients originating from Mr. Adrian Harrington's phone. The attempted interference with business relationships. We have emails, text messages, and witness statements." Their lawyer opened the folder. His face went pale. "Additionally," my lawyer continued, "we have the original divorce proceedings, which show abandonment during a time of extreme financial duress. We've been patient, but we're prepared to countersue for damages well into 6 figures." The meeting ended within 10 minutes. The Harringtons went completely silent after that. No more letters. No more threats. Just silence. The offer came from a global beauty brand I'd admired for years. They wanted to partner with Phoenix Rising for a collaboration worth nearly $3 million. But there was more. They wanted to feature my entire story in their campaign. My face, my words, my journey. "We believe your resilience represents what modern women face," the brand director explained. "Your story will inspire millions." I sat with the contract for days, unable to decide. Did I want the whole world to know everything? The betrayal, the pain, the ugly details? Part of me wanted to keep some privacy, but another part knew this could help other women in similar situations. I thought about all those messages I'd received after my summit speech. Women thanking me for giving them courage. Women saying they'd left bad relationships because of my example. I called Mrs. Asha for advice. "Only you can make this choice," she said. "But I'll tell you this. Hiding your truth protects the people who hurt you." That decided it. I signed the contract. While cleaning out some old boxes, I found a letter I'd forgotten about. It was from Adrian, written during our dating years. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. "My dearest Eliana," it read, "I promise to stand by you, even if we lose everything, even if the world falls apart. Your dreams are my dreams. Your struggles are my struggles. I will never let you face hardship alone." I read it 3 times. The contrast between those words and his actions was devastating. But instead of breaking me, it made me stronger. He'd become a different person, or maybe he'd always been this person and I'd been too in love to see it. Either way, that man was gone. I carefully placed the letter back in the box. Then I emailed the global beauty brands team. "I'm ready," I wrote. "Let's tell this story the right way." The campaign launched 6 weeks later with a powerful video. Me, speaking directly to the camera about loss, betrayal, and rebuilding. It was honest, raw, and real. The campaign went viral beyond anyone's expectations. My story was shared across every major social media platform. News outlets interviewed me. Podcasts invited me as a guest. I became a symbol of resilience and female entrepreneurship. The attention was overwhelming but also empowering. Then something unexpected happened. Adrian's extended family, the aunts and uncles and cousins who'd always supported his mother, started publicly distancing themselves. They released statements saying they'd been unaware of the situation. Some even apologized publicly. Adrian and his mother found themselves completely isolated. Their social circle had evaporated. Their reputation was destroyed beyond repair. One evening, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. I almost deleted it, but curiosity made me listen. It was Adrian, and his voice was broken. "Eliana, please. I need to see you. Just once. Please. I was wrong about everything. I thought you'd crumble without me. I was surprised you survived. Please give me a chance to explain." I saved the voicemail and sent it to my lawyer. Then I blocked the number. Adrian kept trying to reach me through mutual friends. Finally, I agreed to meet him. Once. In public. I chose a busy coffee shop downtown. He arrived looking disheveled, desperate. I sat across from him, my face neutral. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I've been trying to reach you for weeks." "I know. Eliana, I made mistakes. Huge mistakes. But I want you to know I only came back because I care about you. I want to help you navigate this success. You're not used to this world, and I interrupted. His victim narrative was pathetic. "You only came back because you assumed I'd fail. You're not here because you care. You're here because you're shocked I survived without you." His face reddened. "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. I slid it across the table slowly. "What's this?" he asked nervously. "Open it," I said, my voice cold. He opened the folder, and all the color drained from his face. Inside the folder was everything. Documented proof of his role in the sabotage. The traced messages, the false rumors, the interference with my business relationships. Every single thing his family had done compiled and notarized. "This is also a cease and desist order," I explained calmly. "You and your mother are prohibited from ever using my name in any context. No interviews, no social media posts, no sympathy stories. You will never profit from my pain again." His hands shook as he read the documents. "If you sign this agreement," I continued, "I won't pursue legal action for the damages you caused. If you refuse, my lawyers will file suit within 48 hours. The amount we're seeking would bankrupt you completely." Adrian stared at the papers, tears forming in his eyes. "I never meant for things to go this far." "But they did," I said. "Sign it, Adrian." He picked up the pen I'd placed beside the folder. His signature looked shaky, defeated. When he finished, I took the documents and stood up. "Goodbye," I said, turning to leave. "Eliana, wait," he called after me. I didn't turn around. The next few months brought news I'd stopped seeking but couldn't avoid. Adrian and his mother faced complete social exile. Their friends abandoned them. Their country club revoked their membership. Victoria's charity board positions disappeared. Adrian couldn't find work anywhere in the city. Eventually, I heard through old acquaintances that they were moving away. To escape the shame, someone told me. They're leaving town entirely. I waited for the satisfaction I thought I'd feel. The revenge I'd fantasized about during those dark early days. But when the moment came, I felt nothing. No joy, no anger, no vindication. Just peace. They destroyed themselves through their own cruelty. I'd simply refused to be destroyed with them. Mrs. Asha noticed the change in me. "You've let go," she said during one of our weekly dinners. "Completely." "I have," I agreed. "They're not worth the energy anymore." She smiled. "That's when you know you've truly won. When you stop caring about winning at all." At a business conference 3 months later, I met someone who reminded me that kindness still existed. His name was Oliver, and he ran a sustainable packaging company. We started talking about business, then about life. He was gentle, thoughtful, interested in my ideas rather than my success. We exchanged numbers and started meeting for coffee. Just as friends, though something warmer simmered beneath. One evening, after we'd known each other for 2 months, Oliver admitted something. "I need to tell you the truth," he said carefully. "Last year, I was approached by someone asking me to refuse to work with Phoenix Rising. They offered me money to spread rumors about your products. I reported them to the Business Ethics Board instead." My heart stopped. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because I didn't want you to feel grateful. I wanted you to know me as Oliver, not as someone who did you a favor." I studied his face, seeing genuine honesty there. "And now I want you to know because I don't want secrets between us," he said. I reached across the table and took his hand. "Thank you for telling me." 6 months later, I stood in front of the building where my first shop had been. The place where Adrian had once visited me, where I'd poured my heart into handmade candles, where I'd received the eviction notice that changed everything. I'd bought the entire building. Every floor, every window, every brick. But I wasn't opening another shop. I was creating something bigger. The renovations took 3 months. When they were finished, the building housed a training center for women rebuilding their lives. Women leaving bad relationships. Women starting over after financial disasters. Women who needed skills, support, and belief. I hired counselors, business mentors, and skills trainers. I created scholarships and childcare services. I called it the Phoenix Center. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew hundreds of people. Local politicians attended. News cameras filmed everything. Mrs. Asha stood beside me as I prepared to cut the ribbon, tears in her eyes. "You've come so far," she whispered. "You did this," I said. "You gave me the chance." "No," she corrected. "I gave you capital. You gave yourself the chance." I stood at the podium, looking at the crowd gathered for the Phoenix Center's opening. Cameras flashed. People smiled. This moment felt surreal. A year ago, I was sitting on the floor of an empty apartment, holding an eviction notice and divorce papers, wondering if I'd survive the week. Today, I'm standing here because I chose to survive not just the week, but every week after that. I paused, gathering my thoughts. I didn't rise to prove anyone wrong. I rose to prove myself right. To prove that my worth wasn't defined by who stayed or who left. To prove that betrayal doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning. The applause was thunderous. After the ceremony, I went backstage to gather my things. An envelope sat on my chair, unmarked. I opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten note. "Thank you for exposing them. I was their next target. Because of your courage, I left before they could destroy me too." I stood there, holding that letter, and smiled. My story had helped someone. That made everything worth it. I walked outside into the sunshine, ready for whatever came next.